There is a course for businesswomen that I took, and today is the last day, is the end of the course, so we're celebrating it at my cafe. So yes, I'm excited.
That's really great. I feel so at home here. It's a really nice street. It's full of women, and it does really feel like a homey. Everybody is friendly. Everybody is nice. You are listening to episode 15 of Stories from Palestine podcast. 15. Yes, 15 episodes. And more than 3,000 registered downloads, according to the statistics of Buzzsprout, my podcast host. It's really great to know that people are listening, and very nice that people are sharing the podcast. Obviously, I really enjoy when people send me personal messages on social media or through the email. Some friends even sent me messages on WhatsApp when they enjoyed a podcast episode. So thank you for taking time to do that. And if you don't have a podcast player yet, I really advise you to download one. For example, Spotify or Google Podcasts or Apple Podcasts, because this way you can easily find all the episodes. They're all in one place, and very convenient. You can pause the episode whenever you want and then later return back to it. Now, maybe you can hear from my voice that I have a little cold. I started to have the cold just before my husband and I were supposed to go on a short holiday last week. Just him and me, without the children, finally, after 6 years. So then I actually did a COVID test, my very first one. And I can say it wasn't very pleasant. Actually, it was pretty horrible. That guy, he really put that long cotton bud very deep in my nose and started just pouring it around. And anyway, horrible. But fortunately, the result of the test was negative. So we still went on a trip with my common cold. I decided that I did not want to cancel the trip. So we went for the weekend to Nazareth. That's Nasr in Arabic. And I actually recorded this episode there. And you will hear from my voice that I had a cold. But we had a great time. We discovered a side of Nazareth that we didn't know yet. So I hope you will enjoy listening to this episode. So this weekend, my husband and I took a trip to the north, and we came to Nazareth, and we stayed in a beautiful guest house called Hakim guesthouse. It's a very old building. The family that runs it is very friendly and very hospitable. We just had an enormous breakfast buffet. There was literally everything you can imagine. Fresh vegetables and fruits, all kinds of salads, hummus, ful, baba ganoush, lebana, bread with zeytu za'atar, omelette, scrambled egg, homemade cakes, coffee, tea, all kinds of juices, drinks. So yeah, of course, after we finished the breakfast, the host said that we didn't eat enough, but we are stuffed. We can't eat anymore. I'm going to ask the family to tell me a little bit about the history of this beautiful building and of this family guest house. I just wanted to tell the people who are listening to the podcast a little bit more about your guest house, because it's been such a wonderful stay here. And we've had such an incredible breakfast. I even took some pictures to show to people. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and about this guest house? How did it start? How is it a family guest house? Everything we need to know.
Thank you for the warm words we heard. You're always welcome. My name is Abir, and I am one of the owners of this boutique hotel, Al Hakim, after the family name. I used to be a school principal, junior high school in Nazareth, Al Zahra Junior High School. And now I am helping my son with managing the hotel. In fact, it's a very beautiful place, and I can't be objective talking about it because I love the place so much. It's such a beautiful building, part of it since 1350. and the other part since 1870. It used to serve my father-in-law, the late, as carpentry and then accessories for carpenters and furniture shop. And then we got it as a heritage, and we decided to make it boutique hotel with authentic Arabic food. And of course, the rooms and every place reminds the visitor, the guests, of the ancient days of Nazareth.
How long have you been open, and where do most of your guests come from?
We are open since 2015, and it's about 5 years ago. Most of our guests come from abroad as Christian groups for visiting the Holy Land, or even individuals. And of course, we serve many of the guests from the country, Arabs and Jews, who come to visit Nazareth. We get very positive energies from our guests, and we love serving them. We enjoy being together with our guests because it's such an intimate place where we can talk to them and they can tell us their stories and we tell them about the place. So it's really a special experience staying in Nazareth at Al Hakim Guesthouse.
How did the COVID pandemic affect your work and your business here?
Of course, we are just the same as everybody else everywhere in the world, not only in Nazareth or in Palestine. We stopped working since the 11th of March. We had a very few days working on June, July, August, and now we are about to close again. So we are in a very, very bad situation because we love the place. We love the people to enjoy our place, but we can see nobody, no tourists, no even citizens from the country around can't come and visit us, so we are closed.
It's been very strange for us as well because we are, of course, local tourists, and we have now been able to visit sites without almost anybody else around, which is kind of an interesting experience. We've been not having to deal with other tourists and not being in any lines, but it is a little bit sad. My last question for you is, and maybe I don't know if anybody ever asked you this question before, but you are a Palestinian and you're a Palestinian Christian, but you live in what is now Israel. How did that affect your life?
In fact, it's really, I think we are the most complicated people in the world. Our life and our situation is very difficult to explain because we were grown up as Palestinians, and our families, our homes, our traditions, our food, everything is based on the Palestinian people, and we are Palestinian people. And then the Israeli state came, and we have to live with this situation. Like being a school principal, I used to work with the state. I used to serve my pupils according to the laws, and it's a little bit complicated. Even I usually used to say that maybe we are the only place in the world that people don't have one day, the same day off of the week together, because many of us work like with the state, like on Sundays, on the Saturdays, some people are off, others are on Fridays. So even the family got kind of breakdown for this situation, because the day for the family is very important, to make a family, to make us very close to each other, to live together, to have our memories together. But Palestinian Arabs inside the Green Line have this problem and many other problems like discrimination or kind of this, problems. But mainly we have to find a way through, and we have to find our way to make our careers and to succeed and to prove ourselves, and of course to continue staying in the country. That's very important for us.
Yes, I agree with you. Thank you very much. I want to say that the hospitality I've received here is outstanding. I am not surprised that you have such high rates on Booking.com and on TripAdvisor. I am going to leave my own review for you. And I'm still full from the breakfast yesterday, let alone from the one today. Thank you very much.
Thank you. You're always welcome. And Nazareth is a very welcoming place. The people love the tourists and the guests that come to Nazareth. Please do come to Nazareth. We love it.
So we came to Nazareth, to this beautiful city. We've just explored it for only a day. And here we are with one of the owners of El Hakim Guesthouse. And he is actually a tour guide. So he knows everything about the city. So could you tell me a little bit about yourself, your name, the background of you as a tour guide? And then I really want to know, what is it that people come to see in Nazareth? And what is it that you think people should see in Nazareth that maybe the normal tourism doesn't show to people?
Okay, welcome to Nazareth, the city of the Annunciation. I am tourist guide. I am 10 years working with this kind of job that I like it. Before I worked in a bank. I was a banker for 30 years in bank discount in Nazareth. I retired. I studied tourist guide in Haifa University, and I'm working with this. It is not work, it is hobby. I like it because I like my country, and there is a lot of things to say about our country. Why Nazareth? Nazareth important for all the Christian world because it is the city of the Annunciation. When the angel Gabriel annunciated Virgin Mary that she is pregnant by the Holy Spirit. Jesus born in Bethlehem, and the Holy Family lived in Nazareth. The Holy Family, it is a poor family, and Jesus used to help his father in his carpentry shop. Maybe it wasn't carpenter. It is maybe mistake, the translation of the word in Greek. He had handicraft. But what is important doesn't matter what he was. It was important that they lived in poverty. And the Lord Jesus used to help his father in his workshop. And they lived in Nazareth for 30 years, and he rejected from Nazareth because the Jews of Nazareth, they waited to the Messiah. But for them, the Messiah must be from the dynasties of the Temple of Jerusalem, the leaders of the Jews, not the son of the carpenter. Jesus left Nazareth. He forced to leave Nazareth because, according to Luke 4, he rejected from Nazareth from Precipice Mountain, and he left towards Capernaum, beside the Lake of Galilee, northwest side of the Lake of Galilee. Not all the sides of the lake, not all the shores, because the Jews lived in Capernaum, in the northwest side of the Lake of Galilee. And the Lord Jesus liked to live with his people. There is another kind of Jews in Capernaum. They accept Jesus and they follow Jesus. So Nazareth important because the Lord Jesus lived in Nazareth. I say because I am Nazarene and I like Nazareth. I say that Christianity started from Nazareth. For that, all the world looking to Nazareth as the city of the Annunciation.
And what would be if people come to Nazareth, what would be the historical sites that they would visit? Where do you go? You are coming to Nazareth and you're walking around. What do you go to see?
Before I answer your question, I want to say there is another side of Nazareth, that it is the biggest Arab city in Israel. It is very important. The elite, the intellectual elite of the Arabs in Nazareth, because before 1948, all the intellectual elite, the political elite, the economical elite left Palestine. There's many sides of this, why they left. Sometimes they're forced to leave, sometimes they escape. Depend on the circumstances. But we say that they left the country. So in Nazareth, they stay in Nazareth because the importance of Nazareth for the Christian world. Arabs in Nazareth stay in Nazareth. And the Arabs from Haifa, from Jaffa, from Acre, they are the elite, intellectual elite, they left. So the most important secondary school was in Nazareth. So from all the country, they came to study in Nazareth in the secondary school because it is the only secondary school in Nazareth. So let us say that the national pioneers after 1948 from Nazareth. So the question, the sites. There's two important sites in Nazareth. One, it is the Basilica of the Annunciation. It is built over the house of Virgin Mary, where she received the Annunciation that she pregnant by the Holy Spirit. The church, it is very beautiful church. It is not the first church to build over the house of the Virgin Mary. It's not house, it was a cave. And the new church, it's built the year 1955 by the Franciscans who built it. The architect was Giovanni Muzio from Italy. the Franciscan wanted to build a very big church to show that is really important as Annunciation. Another church called Saint Gabriel Church or Marysville Church or the Greek Orthodox Annunciation Church. Because according to the Proto-Evangelion of James, Virgin Mary used to draw the water from a well. And then one day when she was drawing the water, collecting the water, appeared to her the angel Gabriel and told her she blessed among the women. And when she heard the voice, she ran away back to her home of fear. And there she received the annunciation that she pregnant. For the first appearance to the angel Gabriel was beside the well. So the Orthodox believe that it is the beginning of the Annunciation. It's there. So it is very beautiful. And it's small church. It's a small church without statues, frescoes on the walls. It is small and beautiful. I like it because I am Orthodox, Greek Orthodox. So the main churches, there is a synagogue. The synagogue where Jesus used to pray and study the Bible during the Sabbath. There is many question mark about this. It is the synagogue, or yes or no. But for us, it is the synagogue where Jesus preached the people and read the scrolls of Isaiah. And from the synagogue of Nazareth, he ran away because the Jews wanted to throw him from the mountain that their city built on. And this is the Precipice Mountain. So the synagogue, the Greek Orthodox Annunciation Church, and the Catholic, the Basilica of the Annunciation. You can see the people of Nazareth. We are so kind. We help people. We are giving the tourists feeling that they are it is the home. This is the most important for us.
I have to say that staying here for 2 days, I really feel at home. I feel welcomed and I feel appreciated. And you're taking so good care of us. And I think that anybody who wants to come to Nazareth, they should come and stay here. So I will drop the link of your guest house on my website and on the show notes of the podcast. And anybody who wants to come and stay here in Nazareth has to come to Hakim guest house. It's a wonderful place. It's a second home. Thank you very much.
ما عملتش نسيت انه في حدا منكم بحبها السخون وتذكرت بعد ما عملت
مفيش مشاكل. يسلموا ايديك.
صح. Thank you.
Amani, I love your cafe, and I'm really glad that we found it. Last night we spent the night here in the hotel in Al Hakim guest house, and when we walk up the street here, the very narrow streets of Nazareth, we are passing by your cafe, but there's also a lot of other galleries. I wanted just to ask you, how did you start a cafe here, and what is the story of this street?
This is called the Bride Street. The bride in the past, for sure. The bride used to come here to buy everything for the wedding. All of us are women here, opened cafes and galleries. Luckily, it's still Bride Street. We're trying to revive this street or the old city by opening our stores and shops here. We want people to come to the old city because it was closed since 2000. All the shops were closed for many years. And we're finally decided to revive it and to open it again.
What was the reason behind the closure? Because, I mean, this is the old city of Nazareth. This is the place where you would say all the tourists come, where everybody would hang out. What happened?
So before there was a project called 2000 project. The government decided to make instructions in the old city. So the government gave money to the municipality. And they did instruction, but it took them more than 5 years. So a lot of workers and a lot of shops couldn't even enter to their shops. And people stopped coming to the old city because it wasn't very safe. So all the shops went outside to the new city, and most of the shops closed. When it's closed, we found a lot of it became unsafe place, very dark, without lights, and a lot of drug dealers and drugs, and it was really, people were really scared to enter the old city. So by opening, especially ladies, especially women, by us women opening here is, and we're trying to change this idea and this stereotype that no, it's safe and you can come here and feel comfortable, and it's the people here are super nice, the locals are really amazing. So don't be afraid. It's beautiful. It's safe. Just come here, and everyone will hug you by emotions. And there's a lot of interesting stories behind every shop. What was it before? And it's very, very beautiful place. That I always say it. The walls speaks.
Yeah, I can feel that when I walk here, and I can see that also the women who open shops here. There are different kinds of shops.
We have graphic designers, we have craft shops, we have embroidery. We have different kinds and different ages also. Yani, I'm 26, you have 24, 40, 50. So it's very, very interesting.
Can I ask you, what did you study before you started to work here?
First, I worked in this business, in the restaurant business, since I was 16. I studied tourism in the University of Haifa. I also work as a travel agent in Nazareth. I also have the cafe. So I have part-time job and the cafe.
What if there are listeners who've never been to Nazareth? We've heard already a little bit from another tour guide. He told us about the churches that you should see and all the religious sites. Are there other things that you would say, like, no, come on, when you come to Nazareth, there's more than just that?
I'll probably say food, but kind of everyone knows how the Palestinian food is good. But when I travel everywhere, I travel around the world, I prefer to meet locals and talk to them. And I think in the old city, it's not that hard to talk to people because it's a very open community. People still talk to each other, and you feel that it's a big family, and it's like a very, very, very small neighborhood, even though it's really big. So I think rather than food, you will meet a lot of great locals and buildings for sure. The buildings are very amazing, very old and very unique. So building, local and food.
And Nazareth is a mixed city, right?
It's mixed Christians and Muslims. We don't have any Israeli or Jews. So yes, it's mixed Christians and Muslims.
Yeah, and can you say something about that? Because many people in the world, they think that Christians and Muslims, they don't get along. But I don't see any problem here in Nazareth.
It's actually rude if you come to someone from Nazareth and ask them if they are Muslim or Christian. They won't accept it. Religion is not something really important to us. Like it is important. People really believe, but we don't talk about it, and we don't care if you're Muslim or Christian. It's not on the table. And the good thing about Nazareth that everyone celebrate all the holidays, especially Christmas. Muslims and Christians celebrate Christmas. You don't really feel that Muslims and Christians don't really get along. It's just
yeah, and the Christmas is coming up. I mean, we're already in November. How do you see the Christmas this year with all the COVID pandemic?
Well, I think that people in Nazareth really love Christmas. So I think the COVID won't really affect people celebrating. We will definitely celebrate. Even though if we don't have a huge Christmas market with the stage, we will have small Christmas markets in the streets, in the cafes. So we will celebrate it anyway.
Yeah, I really truly hope that you will be able to, even maybe it's going to be nicer to have something small and cute. It's going to be different for sure. Definitely different. Listen, you are working right now on something I can see you set up in your cafe table. What's going to happen?
There's a course for businesswomen that I took, and today is the last day, is the end of the course, so we're celebrating it at my cafe. So yes, I'm excited.
That's really great. I feel so at home here. It's a really nice street. It's full of women. Yes. And it does really feel like a homey. Everybody is friendly. Everybody is nice. So I advise everybody to come here. Amani, the last question. How can people find you on social media, and when are you open?
So in social media, on Instagram, Amani Point Cafe. Amani with I, and Facebook also Amani Cafe, and Google. It's next to the Fawzi Azar Hostel or Antique Hostel. It's really, if you got lost, just ask people. They are very friendly and they will help you for sure.
And you're open every day, but
Sunday, every day but Sunday. We used to open before the corona from 8 till 8. And now we're open for to go only, but we will soon open again.
inshallah.
Inshallah. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Amani. The neighbor of Amani coffee shop is called Graphic Design Gallery. I'm going to go inside and see what is this place all about. Hello. This is a nice place. Can you tell me your name and what you do here?
My name is Bana Haddad, and I have a gallery here in the Old City. I do graphic design mainly, and graphic art, visual arts, digital paintings, and I present them here in this little shop.
I see that you are using old photos. I see a picture of women, Palestinian women with the embroideries, and they are wearing the water jars on their heads. But then you did something. What did you do with it?
It's a collage art. It's mostly experimental and like what you feel at that moment. But I just love, it's very typical here as well with the Mary as well and the jars of water. So I wanted to incorporate that as well. And I just love the colors of the embroidery.
And here on the top, that's very different. There is a photo of a person, I think it's a man, and there's lots of hands around him making his eyes black with coal. And then you have to explain me the rest, because what is these things on top of his head?
These things are top of his head are old eyeliner bottles. Like it's the old traditional eye makeup that women used to use. So this is one of the collages that I made for a series of old Palestinian sayings and Arabic sayings that I made into collages to make them more presentable for the younger generation. And this one, you say it when there's good intentions, like putting on the makeup, but you end up blinding the person. So that's when you have good intentions, but you end up ruining it with your good intentions.
Can you say that in Arabic?
جينا تنكحلها عميناها.
Wow. And here, there's another one. I'm going to try that in Arabic. Al-Kurt بعين إمه غزال. Can you say, what does that mean?
القرد بعين أمه غزال. It's like every monkey in his mother's eyes looks like a gazelle or something beautiful.
So you took Arabic proverbs that are maybe not as much known anymore, and then with these new kind of technique, you can sort of bring them back to the younger generation.
I got inspired from my grandma, obviously, and my mom. They used to tell us all these sayings, and I wouldn't get them when I was younger. Well, now I'm older and I know what they mean, but, you know, my younger sister doesn't. So I took it as an inspiration from there to put it into collage art. And I chose collage art because it's usually stuff that don't make sense that are put together. So I took that general thought and put it into the collage art.
I really like it. I see a few more here. You know what? I'll take pictures and I'll put them on my website. Or do you have them somewhere available on the net?
Instagram at Lau Studio.
So I'll put your Instagram on my page and on the show notes of the podcast so people can see them there. It's really nice to see that there is this little corner, because the room we're in is probably not more than 3 by 4 meters. It reminds me of the size of the room that I rented when I was first a student, when I was 18, 19 years old, same size. But you did a great job. It looks very cute. And there is your artwork available here. And so do you also do things on demand if people come to you like, oh, I need a logo or I need some design for a brochure or something?
Of course, this is, like I said, mainly my main job, which is graphic design, publishing, advertising, all things with logo design, branding. So this is what I do, and I do that with customers and with the people who demand. And this is like the thing that, this is the passion, the gallery here and the designs that I present.
So anybody who listens to this podcast and needs a graphic designer can reach out to you. Everything can be done online these days, so that's good. Thank you very much. This is a very beautiful place.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so after we visited the very nice art gallery, we just continued in the street, and there are so many nice little shops. There's tatris, there's people who are doing handmade artisan work, and I can't get into every shop because that would be too much time. But I just found this other art gallery where I went in, and it's full of beautiful art. I'll put some photos also on the website. I'm just sitting here with the owner. Can you tell me who you are and what you do, and how did you get to start in this street here?
My name is Sama Abu Hanna. I studied visual communication in Tel Aviv, and I came back to Nazareth the last summer. And then we started to work on this place. I started to frame all my artistic works that I have made since like 5 years until now. I always wanted a place in the old city to open for my own works, as a studio, as a gallery. And we have a backyard here also that is meant to a lot of concerts to perform here. The idea was that at the 29th of each month, we're going to have a concert here, but because of Corona, it didn't work so much until now. We had only 3 concerts until now.
How can you describe your own art? What inspires you? What are the materials you use?
I use a lot of mixed media, mostly like use photography and then try to intermediate with another medias, maybe the digital or handmade stuff, illustrations, graphics, calligraphy. I do also Arabic calligraphy, especially for tattoos. I have a lot of feminist works that talks about women in the Arab society.
What would be your message with that? If you say Arab women in society, what does it mean for you?
I have a series of images that I criticize a lot of scenes that I see in the Arabic society about the women's status in the Arabic society. I talk about sexual stuff. I talk about chauvinism, all the violence that we have for men against women.
And how do local people perceive your artwork then? Because it's not easy for people, especially men in this case, to feel criticized.
That's true, but I actually saw a lot of positive feedback. Until now, I don't know if people I know that people behind the walls, they talk about it and they argue about it, but what I faced here in the studio, a lot of people took it really positively. They encourage that kind of artwork. They want to see more about it, especially the young age. They really enjoy having people that are finally doing these kind of works.
What would your ideal world look like for you as a Palestinian and as a woman?
First of all, equality between men and women in all aspects, and peace. As a Palestinian, we want to have the same rights between all of the people, all the religions, all the different type of social status.
That's the beautiful message of your work. I'm going to look inside and take a few pictures. If people wanted to see your work, where can they find you?
I have a page on Instagram especially. I don't do Facebook that much. It's called 2SU Design 9. The gallery is called 29. So yeah, I have most of my works there, and I post about the performances that we have or might have in the future.
I will post a link on my website and also in the show notes of the podcast, and everybody can find your work there and maybe order online. Is there any chance for people to do that if they are abroad?
I'm still working on it. Yeah, it's going to be in the future as online. I'm going to do online shopping.
Super. Thank you very much for your time.
راح اشوفكم اكيد. كثير انبسطت فيكم. عندك كثير جنة. شكرا. واتساب هون كثير شتاء. خلصتي؟
It's time for Arabic with Louisa. Louisa, Papa and Mama went on a tour. How do you say tour or trip in Arabic?
رحلة.
And we spent our night in a hotel. How do you say hotel?
فندق.
And then we went and did some shopping in shops. How do you say shop in Arabic?
دكان.
And of course we had coffee in a nice coffee shop. How do you say coffee shop?
محل قهوة.
Thanks, Louisa. هادي رحلة
فط
رحلة
رحلة
فندق
فندق
دكان
دكان
محل قهوة.
محط قهوة.
شكرا هادي، مع السلامة. All the links to the guest house, the cafe and the art galleries can be found on the website storiesfrompalestine.info, and of course in the show notes of this podcast episode, which you can see if you are listening via a podcast player. Don't hesitate to contact the people about their work. I am sure they would love to hear from you. Also, never hesitate to contact me. Send me a short message on Instagram, on Facebook, or an email. I mean, I really love hearing back from you. You can sign up for the mailing list so you get a weekly reminder. And very appreciated, of course, if you can support the podcast with a donation. Tourism here is still completely non-existent, so this is really the only source of income. And if you enjoy listening, then go to the website ko-fi.com, ko-fi.com/storiesfrompalestine, and you can buy me a coffee or a falafel, and in this way you can support the podcast. I will have the link on the website and in the show notes. By the way, I am working on an episode specially for Christmas to be recorded in Bethlehem. So this week we were in Nazareth, where Joseph and Mary were from, and then we will follow their path from Nazareth to Bethlehem, where they went, remember from the Bible story, for the Roman census. They had to get registered, and Mary eventually gave birth in Bethlehem. So stay tuned for that, and I hope you will listen again next week. Allah ma'akum.